Hello, my friends. This is Daniel again. We have now approached lesson 5 about nutrition. Actually, it means what we have to eat and how to eat to fulfill the goals of our Awakening to Vitality program. So where we are standing. So we are somewhere in the middle of our program, and we will just talk about all the food, all the supplements, basic progress you can take with all these strategies. So why the food is so important, why the nutrition is important for longevity and for your health. We should understand our food and our nutrition as the very basic cornerstone of our well-being, of our body, and of our general health. We have to focus on several important topics. First of all, we will talk more about caloric restriction and its very important benefits, which can start from activating cellular survival pathways. So it means your cells during caloric restriction starts to rejuvenate. So they are switching to a program which actually starts them to repair from a DNA level on epigenetics level. Also, restricting your calories intake reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, which is also very bad for your health and for your damage of your cells. Enhancement of DNA repair mechanisms is also supported by restricting your calories, along with the general boost of metabolic efficiency and additional energy production. And as you can see also, additionally, it's effect of xenohermetic effect, which actually stands for the introduction of external stressors, which means some chemicals from plants, which boosts resilience with mimicking some hormesis, which means in Latin, the state of suffering for the plants, and therefore it's communicating when ingesting to human body also for us the same status of the expecting problems. So with these defense mechanisms, our body is able to perceive mimicking danger. So actually it activates its defense mechanisms, leading to enhanced lifespan. It's a very old mechanism, very old pathway. We already mentioned it in the previous chapters on yeast cells, where it has been discovered. And at the end, also it strengthens our body's ability to handle more significant challenges at the end. Okay, what it means also to have good nutrition is balanced macro and micronutrients. So ensuring that we have optimal ratio of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and also importantly, prioritizing all our essential vitamins, minerals for health of your cells. We will talk about antioxidant-rich foods as well, where we are trying to combat our against free radicals, so reducing overall oxidative stress to your body. So therefore also supporting our DNA integrity and even repairment. It's important also to understand chapter of gut health and longevity. That's simply because balanced diet supports a healthy gut microbiome, and it's crucial for correct absorption of immune system, also for many hormones and internal important molecules creation in gut directly. We will also be benefiting from cognitive benefits with the proper nutrition, supporting brain health, reducing risks of neurodegenerative conditions, and as the last is the adaptation to stress with the help of these nutritional impacts. So with a nutritionally balanced diet, we are promoting adaptability and helping body efficiently to respond to external challenges. Okay, so first of all, we will talk about small assessment we have prepared for you. The link you will find also in the attached documentation to this lesson. And it's very important for you to understand your specifics, to understand what are your body needs. So as you see, there are many variations in your body, in your physique, which depends on your gender, on your genetics, tolerance of different phytochemicals, of your general constitution, how you have been grown up, and of course, based on your culture, your customs, as well. We are strongly supporting then analysis, understanding your blood, your glucose monitoring, where we will talk about also a continuous glucometers, state of your DNA with a measurement of your DNAH, and of course, simple diagnostics of your body weight, body measures, your fat-free mass index, which is actually body composition. And we will try to optimize on our coaching sessions based on the results of your test and your assessment. So please take this assessment on this link, take 10 minutes, maybe less, and just honestly respond to those questions. At the end, you will be able to see the results and to be able to compare it with the rest anonymously. And during our sessions, we will talk more about the results on our coaching sessions, and you can ask details which will be specific for you and your requirements. So first of all, let's again review how we can activate all the survival pathways, which actually is called also adversity mimetics. So we are pretending some adversity, expecting times of a scarcity. First of all, our first goal in the strategy is to maintain blood sugar levels as low as possible, as long as possible as well during the day. But we will talk more about the strategy later. We don't need your blood sugar to be fluctuating. Rather, we would like to gain the steady level of sugar without any changes. So we will talk more about intermittent fasting approach. Our second goal we already discussed in the exercise chapter is about oxygen fluctuations. With inducing hypoxia state, your body will also start rejuvenate and start the corrective pathways. So it's a separate strategy we already discussed, but it's here. And to understand it from basic energy consumption, anaerobic metabolism, it's about AMPK pathway activations, which actually is influencing ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as the most important energy storage, direct storage or direct source of energy for every cell in your body. And it's also about mitohormesis. There are some specific strategies and protocols which can influence mitochondria and pretending some scarcity of important resources for mitochondria, therefore training your mitochondria to be producing more of themselves and more energy efficiently. Following with what actually activates our survival pathways, we can simulate it also by extreme temperatures. We will not talk in detail, but it's about sauna or as well with a very cold environment, with cold water submersion. Goal fourth way is also simulating protein deficiency, which we will not introduce in a much higher level. We will talk a little bit about kind of proteins which are inducing this protein deficiency. And also we will talk about xenohermetic molecules more with supplementation and with some specific phytochemicals. Okay, so first important path or strategy we can take with the nutrition is caloric restriction. And what it actually means, it's a reduction of your caloric intake, but of course without malnutrition, which is important for activating of sirtuins, and in particularly it's SIRT1 sirtuins, which starts reparation mechanisms on the cellular level in most of the organisms on this planet. And this is also believed one of the most potent mechanism for extending your lifespan and also helping repairment of your body, of your cells, of your epigenetics. In addition to that, there is possibility to use several phytochemicals, as we said, and we will talk later, like resveratrol, supporting NAD+ with a caloric restriction. And also we'll talk more about exercise and intermittent fasting and other molecules. Okay, so why actually is the maintaining blood glucose, blood sugar level low as so important? We call it actually as a sugar trap. Our first goal will be to maintain your blood glucose level stable with minimizing intake of specific food, specific nutrition, which has a very fast sugar level, increasing your sugar level very fast, and therefore inducing more insulin, producing more insulin into your blood, and developing many unhealthy situations and unhealthy reactions of your body, like insulin tolerance, which is unwanted. So our main tool here will be intermittent fasting, as we already said, and we are introducing it as a small period without real starvation, which is usually lasting 16 hours. And we are trying to include also the sleep time into these 16 hours. It's important also to stay without need to have any snacks, and with intermittent fasting after several weeks of sustaining without food, for example, during evenings and early mornings, you will start to generate more energy during this time by neoglycogenesis or genesis, where your liver will be providing you supply of your internal sugar for keeping all the processes in your body. So you will not be dependent on the outside intake of nutrition. Of course, you are still staying 8, maybe less, hours on your normal nutrition with normal food. So you will also have to decrease amounts of bad sugars during that time. So first of all, what are the benefits of caloric restriction? Is actually that we are eliminating insulin crash, as I already mentioned, and we are watching actively also the food composition. So we are trying to adjust and avoid as much as possible simple sugars, which means glucose, fructose, and also replacing it by any sweeteners which are not so harmful to your health as simple sugars, for example, stevia, xylitol or erythritol, palm sugar, respectively. Also, you have to minimize hidden sugars. Many of you don't know that, for example, all white pastry or bread, white rice, potatoes, and pastas are sources of very high sugary compounds. So try to avoid also any snack bars, even those protein bars and pseudo cereals. It's important to study the ingredients of those foods and to see what is the real amount of plain sugar in those. You should be keeping it on the 0 level. So the plain simple sugar is no positive effect on has no positive effect on your body anyhow. As well, completely, you have to avoid sweet soda drinks and Coke, which are, of course, sweetened with a standard sugar, and as well alcohol and beer, which is also unknown, not so famous source of high sugar and very strong caloric intake. Also, it's important to focus on less processing of any of your food, any of the starchy food. So as much as more you process your food, as more you cook it. If, for example, deep frying of the potatoes is significantly increasing its glycemic number. So it's very steep increase of the sugar after consuming such deep fried food. So try very short steaming, several minutes only, and you should be sure that the glycemic level, so it means the speed how glucose will be increased in your blood will remain quite low. Last thing, most of the fruits, because of plenty of fiber in it, is a very good source of energy, but there are some specific kinds of fruits which are very sugary, and I'm just mentioning bananas and grapes are not suggested to be intaking. Okay, we are just continuing very briefly, summarizing what are the benefits, what you will be achieving with a caloric restriction. So it means even with intermittent fasting, with the restriction during part of the day. So first of all, you will achieve very stable and consistent blood sugar level of your body, for your body. So you will have lots of energy. You will have energy for your work. You will have cognitive functions. Your thinking, your reasoning will be working very fine during this time. Even without food, you will not have those sugar cravings like people which regular sugar, simple sugar intakes. With all of these, it's very important that keeping your simple sugar intake low, you are also preventing diabetes and steatosis, which is actually fatty liver, and ensuring your longevity significantly and health. You will be also benefiting from sustained and permanent weight loss. With the intermittent fasting, despite you will be on almost the same amount of calories intake during the day, you will be losing weight with a healthy way, with a sustainable way, and you will experience it at a transformative experience, which will be lasting. You will have steady energy without fluctuations, which I already mentioned, but you will also enjoy it throughout the day without any peaks. And I mentioned also mental clarity, joy in your life. So sugar cravings are also influencing our general mood, our let's say tendency to have more depressions, more anxieties. In addition, you will be more independent from stimulants, which can be leading to more energy, and you will not need so many coffees or any other stimulants in your life. And as the most important, you are activating directly your sirtuins, your repairment of your cells, and with that you will also sustain DNA repair directly. So we are promoting cellular health by activating sirtuins and reparations, our natural defenses. Okay, so there are also downsides and traps, caveats we have in the caloric restriction. And actually, nobody wants to be hungry all the day. So we don't want to suffer really from hunger. We have to cope some weeks, give it some weeks when starting intermittent fasting. We don't also reduce our metabolic rates, which can be reduced when our body is experiencing any kind of scarcity and potential lack of the sugar or resources for energy. And we don't want to have micronutrients in the inefficiency. So we have to still remain with plenty of foods, rich food, with all the variability. And it's also suggested to measure your glucose, which will be also a very good cognitive tool for understanding whether you should have increase your intake or you are still on a good way. You will be surprised how much energy still we have, despite we think we are hungry. Okay, so how to fight hunger? First of all, introduce fiber-rich food. So those are just food like vegetables, whole grains, also fruits, legumes, and they can just keep you full and satisfied. Additionally to that, it's importantly to consume very good and high-level proteins. I'm, for example, taking always with me some nuts, also lean meat, any eggs, tofu, and they are enhancing a feeling of fullness because of that. Protein hunger is much more intense than just for hunger for sugar. So first of all, try to ingest some proteins, and as well stay hydrated. So if drinking plenty of water throughout the day, it will also make your stomach more full. And always start any of your meal with a glass of water or some broth-based soup to hydrate you and to decrease the craving for more. Another strategy is actually to embrace the hunger and expect it as the time when you are waiting for your abundance, which will come after the short period of hunger. So you have to celebrate your abundance. You have to think about how much you still have, how healthy is your food, how your food is supporting your body, and how colorful, how plentiful is the food you are taking after your food window, after your fasting window. So make it a good experience, make it nice, make it good looking with the decorations on the table, with the proper environment, with a proper friend or proper mate. And also include sleep in your fasting period, as we already mentioned. So it's much easier for us to go to sleep with the empty stomach and just to survive those 8 hours. And importantly, you have to also find out another joy and another patience in your life to be introduced as the replacement for the food as the only passion in your life. So there are many other passions, many other joys, and start to discover them in your life. Another important effect is stress. So with reducing stress, you are also reducing possibility of binge eating when you are actually coping with the stress, with increasing your dopamine levels with the enjoyment coming from food. So it's actually kind of a neurotic behavior you have to trying to avoid. And the last last trick is to play with proteins. There are two basic proteins from caloric restriction, two basic groups of proteins or amino acids. It's important to understand that animal proteins are usually very rich on branched chain amino acids, which are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. And those three amino acids has a very important receptors for protein hunger. So if you feel hunger and you will just intake proteins from plants, you will not be so satisfied as you will take some kind of animal protein or even amino acids, which can be a little bit more healthier in the processed source, which are from nutrients for fitness. On the other side, you can use it as the mimicking of the protein hormesis. So if you would like to stay with the resources of amino acids, but you would like to induce hormesis of proteins, you can avoid animal proteins. So we will just stay with the essential amino acids from any legumes, any plant sources, but you will start to activate your survival pathways because of lack of those leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Okay, so how to stay vital during fasting? There are another tricks how to remain still productive. So the less calories during that time will not mean also the scarcity for your body, which will just, we don't want our body to shut down the energy expenditure. So it's important to exercise regularly, despite you are during that window or before that window on the fasting. You should maintain your exercise because it activates. You can understand it as the ignition of your metabolism every day. Start in the morning with a short exercise, and you can continue with a bigger one after your eating window somewhere. It's important also to eat enough, to measure sometimes during your periods of implementing your protocol, to make a calculation of how much calories you are taking. There are many of applications in mobiles, in healthy applications, which are enabling you to calculate what is the overall calories intake based on most of the food you are usually taking. So eat enough. So introduce also healthy fat, which is important to make you feel full, make you feel enough energetic, and with managing stress and prioritizing sleep, it would be much easier to cope with the less calories during a short time of the day. In addition, it's important to also have comprehensive intake of all micro and macronutrients as well. Macronutrients are the basics: carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. Micronutrients are all the minerals and vitamins your body needs. So prioritize those foods which are rich for all these nutrients, which are usually not processed foods, vegetables, only steamed, no deep fried food. They are full of minerals, vitamins, enzymes, and all the essential nutrients you will need. It's important to perform also diverse diet to incorporate as much variety of foods from all food groups to ensure that you have comprehensive nutrients intake. And in addition to that, you can implement also supplementation. We will talk about it in a separate lesson. But this, with supplementation, you are increasing, topping up the necessary intake of multivitamins or any phytochemicals which are helping you sustain your nutritional balance. Of course, it's good to consult first with a healthcare professional, whether it's proper for you. And the last important is to eat whole foods, which is also rich on fiber. As I already mentioned, unprocessed foods, rich for micronutrients, and any kind of nuts, any whole grain. Okay. The last strategy which I mentioned to implement less sugar to your life, less peaks, less fluctuations, is actually understanding your glucose level. There are several ways, and you are not able just to use your feelings as the indicator, because we have very bad indication, very bad possibility and habits already in disbalanced in our feelings and perception of the sugar levels. So you should perform at least regular checkups with your doctor, and you just will do a basic measurement. And if you would like to be more informed, you can just purchase very simple glucose monitor to track it on the daily level, or even for those biohackers, I'm strongly suggesting to test the continuous glucomer monitoring or continuous glucose monitoring device, which is just a little small knob. You will just stick it on your shoulder, and it will track you for 14 days continuously, 24/7. What actually is the source of the sugar peaks? You will just understand, and will just watch for 60 euro for 2 weeks what food actually does to your health, how it fluctuates with sugar levels in your blood, what actually is exercise doing with your sugar levels, with your glucose levels, what are the levels when you are waking up, what are the levels which you would like to remain so low before bedtime. And the very important is to understand actually and link your feel of hunger with understanding what actually is the level of your glucose, because it's not matching always correctly. So for example, in the mornings, we have a very good habit to have a breakfast, but after you start monitoring your glucose level, you are maybe too prone to change that. Even in the morning, we have so much energy, so much sugar savings in your body that you can still have a very good exercise, full training in the morning, and start just with the later lunch, which is great support for your longevity and your reparation pathways. And you're immediately on your intermittent fasting program. Okay, additionally, how to implement is actually to embrace your nutrition plan and to understand what are your own plans, what are your own whys, your reasons why you are starting understanding your nutrition planning. So actually you can start dating and flirting with your food to understand during the window what are the possible positive impacts of the food on you, and plan it as the very exact window in any kind of tool, any calendar, and also understanding importance of hydration in your planning. Take your time, find it maybe in your phone. There are many applications. There are even bottles which are monitoring your overall water intake. It's important also to enjoy other activities and not just think about food only. So if you are focused on a food as only joy during a day, start to think about other good activities like exercising, sports, dance, doing a business, and compete with your friends. Maybe paying attention to your children and your spouse more than before. And of course, meditating. So meditation practice is decreasing significantly your stress levels and also your cravings, your neurotic eating habits. Any kind of creativity, work, dance, art, work with community, charity. Those are all parts of my concept 12 sacred passions I'm introducing in later programs, which you can participate as well. Okay, as I mentioned already, it's a great support to use any calendar where you will be very exact when your feeding window starts, when your fasting starts. There are also applications, especially for intermittent fasting tracking. You are just about to search it for your platform, either for Android or iPhone. Okay. As I already mentioned, there are important hydration plans. Even in Samsung Health, there is implemented directly. We should take some 8 glasses of water, which is about 2 to 3 liters a day, which can be a liter more if you are bigger constitution like me, and as well during hot days and in hot environment as well. Okay, what sources of water? Clean tap water, spring water, or soft tea are the best sources of hydration, but also any kind of brothery soups. You can choose any of those. They are counting. Try to be sure not to take much of the coffee. If you are drinking a lot of coffee, think of it as additional dehydration because you're losing natrium, I believe, after drinking coffee. Okay, so as well, it's important to understand that the correct food composition is important source how you can support your longevity and your health. So first of all, focus on raw food. Focus on as less as possible processed food. And some of you may be also oriented on purely plant-based food. Somebody is lacto-ovo-vegetarian, and even if you are eating meat, try to focus on white meat and fish meat. If we are talking about sources, how to understand what is a good food and what is the good cooking, what are the good habits, you can search now internet, you can search ChatGPT, AI, you can talk about all the details, all the aspects of your food preparation and composition. There are many of books and courses about healthy diet. Always try to ask about longevity effects, about vitality, and of course, important is to prepare for shopping. So plan in advance. Do not try to go to shopping hungry because you will be not buying what's wise, but you will be buying with your stomach, with your eyes only. So the last thing, if you can implement or visit any of those cultures, try to learn from them. There are very specific cuisines from Orient, for example, in Japan, on Okinawa Island, which are known for longevity, and many of centurions on those islands because of lots of vegetables, less caloric intake, and a lot of movement, a lot of energy expenditure. And there is also Mediterranean cuisine, which is also famous for longevity, mainly because of the usage of healthy oils, olive oil, and a lot of fish, a lot of seafood, and of course, because of a level of lifestyle. So, importantly, if you would like to stay with good nutrition, you can also visit our Facebook group of Awaken Vitality, where you can share your experience, sharing your recipes, your photos, and ask also for help anytime. Also via admin, you can ask our course management. Okay, and as I already said, it's important to understand the ingredients after your shopping. So that's the last tip I have. There is many hidden sugars, carbohydrates, which are not healthy, and simply just avoid it. Don't shop when you're hungry. Try to be wise, try to plan it in advance, try to educate, and as well talk and join any community like Awakening Vitality social group.